Sorry about that. Yeah, my mouse accidentally. So yeah, this is the West Africa teasers really. Basically just gonna go a little in depth about not really in depth. It's more like to showcase like what's been going on in Africa. I think there's been something that's been changed. Yeah, I got two events over here. I'll probably read those. Actually, will we? It's supposed to be a teaser video of West Africa. So, yeah, let's start with the Republic of Mali #1 with Bobo Hama. Children of escaped slaves, Bobo Hama has felt his ancestors' pains from birth. Working as a teacher by trade, trained by the top-class educator French Africa over at the urban center Dakar, and then moving back to Niamey. By 1933, he realized France was barely able to hold her colonies and subsequently began political studies behind doors to improve its curriculum. Truth is, he was looking for ways to work within the system and bring autonomy, or perhaps even independence to his homeland. Turns out fate was not looking at him well that year, as the French authority collapsed a year later within the Sahel and West African colonies. Bobo Hama was forced to take the reins of power by a local native militia, which saw him as their educator and protector, even if slightly treasonous for working with the French. Then again, what could be at the time was severely limited. In his new position, his government in Niamey was desperate, disorganized, and poorly protected by Tuareg bandits, who by 1935 had seized Niamey and declared a jihad against the secular Hama government. Desperate, destitute, and left with no other choice, Bobo Hama, Hama's provisional Nigerian army and his government fled upwards in the Niger River, escaping attacks by UDM militias in the borderlands as the Volta forces pacified the countryside. Now they butcher all this. Now finding himself at the banks of the Niger and Mali, Hama and his comrades declared the Republic of Mali, which has previously held by a confusing mix of colonial remnants, democratic intellectuals, and many other factions. This republic had the exact same government as the one in Niamey without being elected. With this, the Voltaic intervention in Mali began. As Bamako became sieged out, it seems that Hama has been destined to be a fleeing dog, dying in the sands of time. Yet, Providence fought against fate and brought him great victories, driving the Voltaic forces back to the Niger River, protecting the small Nigerian army and the Hama government, all of which were given a great propaganda victory, yet one without meaning. People of Mali, now only 5% song high, as the rest were now under Voltaic jurisdiction, despise Hama unelected government, and yet Bobo Hama stands, exhausted and desperate, yet strong in his resolve to go back to his homeland. So it looks like his path will be trying to go back to his homeland by probably expanding the country over here through force, maybe diplomacy. You can see how this. Here are the national spirits. Minuscule ruling party from the minority. Some pretty heavy debuffs there. The Songhai, probably in Niger, the eastern French Sudan, have been the heirs of a great empire in the Sahel, and yet their largest land dominated by them is now barely considered Songhai by any standard. The few Songhai that aren't in the Niger River are mostly refugees from Niamey, who now exist in exile in Mali, looking for ways to save the Songhai once more, akin to their ancient ancestors. But for now, Mali's authority has no popular support in terms of ethnic issues, so it looks like that's gonna be on the back burner at least for quite a while. Yeah, that's gonna be a pain to deal with. It's probably gonna be fun, or at least interesting to figure out ways to deal with that. And one-man vision, which is pretty alright. Vision organization, vision attack. The Republic of Mali is an artificial institution with no legitimacy that is viewed from almost every single citizen within its borders. That is the view of almost every single citizen in the borders. Yet it stands, not repressing its own people who are trying to colonize the lands, but merely desperate soldiers trying to get by. And how much vision to get back home has enticed them to keep going, even if it all hurts so much. So yeah, it seems like he'll try to find some way to get back the homeland. It'll be cool to see how that goes out. Number 2, in this case. Very sudden, sorry about that. And number 2 is Upper Volta. With Nazi Bonnie. Yes, that is his name, by the way. Very, yeah. That's just something from the Discord of National Socialist Bonnie. Yeah. Yeah, that is his name, by the way. You can look it up. Ah, fuck. Or you check the Discord. Anyways, one introduction can be given to the national hero of Upper Volta, its definer and savior. His wrestlers look the same Upper Volta from the logo brutal colonial remnants of Ouagadougou stem not from years of political training or even context of the military. They were from his endless charisma, his adoring and passionate beliefs in the Upper Voltan people and the future. First school director in Ouagadougou, Nazi, had recognized the unrest in Paris and quickly realized that the opportunity to turn his passive thoughts of becoming a politician was violently and quickly approaching. The colonial remnants fighting against native revolts and futurists were weakening, and so, with the assistance of a minor corporal in Ouagadougou, he nearly instantly became the lead revolutionary figure in the country, rallying local militias to unite under one banner. He faced one of the hardest decisions possible, the one of deciding the future of Upper Volta. Will it be a military dictatorship like Mali? Will it be Islamic State like Guyana? No, Nazi dreamed more. He dreamed of a beacon of democracy and freedom in Africa unlike any other, and so, with permission from the Catholic Parliament he had built in a couple of weeks, there came the dissolution of the ruling military junta. To the reluctance of the local military cliques, soon enough a provisional government was set up. Around the election in 4 years, those years are passing. With time only, Nazi will know if his democratic spirit will breathe new life into Africa. So, it might be possible for the military to get involved in that from the looks of it. Based on this and the last part of the description. Focus. National spirits for Upper Volta. Christian-led government, which is 5% that's for the support, but more daily reactionary support. Nothing. That's what I did, alright. Widespread literacy. Pretty, shit. Yeah. Adults, children, teenagers, and elderly. No one is safe from not being able to understand street signs, market plaques, and any kind of book. Illiteracy has plagued Upper Volta for decades and only recently getting better. With time, we can all hope that great rapid change will come and that people will be able to read. Yeah, maybe through education reforms. Probably get that. Yeah, those are some shit fucking people, especially research speed. Sorry. Anyways, naive political system. From revision socialist to right-wing authoritarian, from the looks of it. Pretty much every single one of our intellectual governments, along with our president, are all extremely young compared to other world leaders, with some of them being as young as 18. They result in an idealistic high society filled with dreams of an utopian, democratic Upper Volta. However, this does make it more vulnerable to the military and monarchist elements. So yeah. So it looks like the military can coup the government, the monarchy can be established. So yeah, the democracy could die pretty quickly. Yeah. I'm curious to see what a monarchist path would look like. Anyways, number 3, the imminent of Guyana. Theono Abdouamenba. Definitely butchered that. Considered one of the most widely respected clerics of the Fula tribe, despite his young age, descended from ancient African Islamic aristocracy, Theono spends most of his time in mosque in his humble home studying the Quran and all intricacies of Islam, deeply influenced by his people's indigenous belief in Sufism. Despite being nominally Sunni in perspective, Theono is considered the protector of indigenous Islam in Africa. Deeply beloved by his subjects, is a tolerant but firm leader who is massively popular for his traditionally minded beliefs and traditionally minded economics. Deeply suspicious of the Atsarai, Theono advocates for a simple, humble life and for universal decentralized protection of the weak while securing Islam's power in Africa. terrible infrastructure. It's some pretty shitty. Goddamn, especially out in desert tiles. Goddamn, it's gonna fucking suck. Our independence did not come cheap. Our deeply mountainous and forested lands are nearly impassable. It means that our territory is incredibly hard to go outside the full highlands and Kanaki. Proclaimed protector of Islam in Africa. Yeah, he's a reactionary, so that's more reactionary support than over here. Despite the cries of secular Christians colonizing, Guyana stands at the profound protective Islam. Arabic schools, mystic belief in Allah's teachings, several other axioms in our society continue to prove Guyana's unbreakable belief in Islam. Yeah. Seems like I don't know what paths they could go down to. Maybe they can be radicalized in some way. It would be interesting to see how that plays out. Especially since he's up. The whole universal decency, protection of the weak. Seems like he'll be more of the nicer out here. If these guys basically just Upper Volta fell from its democratic ways. Anyways, the West African Federation over here. Experiment democracy. Britain will enter our seat within hours of any outcome they do not like in our political system. So yeah, it seems like you have to play your cards right. For I've seen, although for what, let's see. The West African Federation experimented and created a new colonial policy in Britain's gigantic realm, which is slowly coming off the steams. However, just because Britain's empire is having trouble doesn't mean they won't intervene swiftly if democracy begins getting the wrong idea. So yeah, it seems like you can't go down radical paths. Let's read about Andrew Collins since I glossed over that one real quick, but this was just more interesting to me. Hailing from an Anglo-Jewish family, Cohen has roots to the Ashkenazi family in Britain. Educated at Melbourne College, Cohen has created his own division of colonial policy. One of moderation. No one will be subject to any kind of supremacy. No white men or black men will be put under repression for who they are. And responsible government, law, and human well-being are the forefront of his policy. A kind man, Cohen knows what needs to be done to secure the well-being of West Africans and to properly introduce them to democracy. So yeah, it seems like these two could get along potentially. If Upper Volta doesn't get cooled by military, and if the more radical elements in the West African Federation don't get into power somehow. Language divisions. The former colonies that comprise the West African Federation are disunited in language matters, ethnic matters, and finally religious matters. It is clear that as much as we try, there is no good choice for a lingua franca that's spread across all of our territory, at least until something drastic happens. Yeah, probably from a focus. That could happen. Let's see, the Crown Colony of Nigeria. Before it was just Nigeria. Now it's a Crown Colony of Nigeria, so. Let's read this little description. Born in Tasmania, Sir Bernard Henry Burdelin has always been at the fringes of the British Empire governing Ceylon. I remained in British India until 1932. He was transferred to Uganda and remained in Africa for the next couple of years. Seeing the collapse of authority in nearby colonies such as Niger, he became more stringent in polity despite having immense sympathies for the natives. Considering everything, Burdelin is a good colonial manager, one of the best even. Maintain good order and keep the natives happy is not easy. Bernard is ready for the job. Split nation. Fucking shit loads of stability loss. Quite a bit of political power costs and the okay-ish attrition. Nigeria is a deeply divided artificial colony of a nation, with regional monarchies numbering a dozen, Islam in the north, indigenous beliefs and Christianity sharing the south. Among hundreds of problems, it appears that Nigeria will forever remain divided in the region, culture, politics, and everything you can think of. Actually, I wonder if it could collapse. That'd be interesting, actually. Yeah, based on that, there's the possibility that if you fuck up things pretty bad in Nigeria, you could probably collapse. Which, I think that would be neat. It would suck for the people there, but Be interesting to see how that would play out. Anyways, now the Turok Free Territory. That's the last one. Turok statelessness. The Turok Free Territory is one of, if not the only perfect example of anarchy in the entire world. It's a roaring pack of banned slaves, foreigners, and misfits all across uncharted terrain just survive. No one but the bravest survive here. Fuck off for civility, pretty shit war support, and lots of political power loss. So, yeah, pretty sure that the Turok Free Territory, I keep saying Turok, I don't know why. The Turok Free Territory is gonna get a rework. Well, it was. I've heard of that with my dog. Anyways, the Savannah slave trade. Stand monthly population. Lower stability. Our territory is filled with the Boomer slave, mostly Bantu and Niger Congo peoples. These are proudly of the Tuareg dominating clans. And lastly, clan military. Jesus Christ. It's gonna be quite difficult to match all of this at the same time. Anyways, the only military division we have as of now is a number of levies working together to maintain the anarchy present in the territory. So we've gone back to the medieval days with this now. And it's fucking sad. And they all function independently of one another without any forward chain of command. We have no generals, no commanders. No one except ourselves and our weapons. So yeah. I wonder if somebody could come to power out there like as of now. But that might change later. Anyways, this is the Upper Volta teaser, so we already read this guy, so let's read these other leaders here for Upper Volta. We have D'Angelo Tarek. If anything can be said about D'Angelo Toro, is that he's a dedicated man. D'Angelo has lived all of his life as an intellectual in the deepest corners of Ouagadougou. Going all across West Africa, his veterinary work became increasingly vital and well known. For the skills in travel, D'Angelo has spent the last few years working to establish an image of a man that knows what he's doing, that has a kind heart, and yet knows what needs to be done to protect Upper Volta from tyrants. A close associate to Nazi body, D'Angelo's friendly rivalry with Nazi has been an important part of the theoretical web of politics. His intellectual airs and ability to stir an audience to believe he knows what he's talking about has been key to his success in reaching Upper Volta's presidency. Joseph Kanumbo, child of farmers. Joseph Isufu Kanumbo, sorry, has been close to the earth, Upper Volta. Knowing the people of Virgin and Central Upper Volta by name, always a great defender of local needs of the farmers, delivered an intense effort at the center. Reading the political beliefs around that tradition, ruralism and conservatism, a man of charismatic demeanor, and his consistent political program that appeals to the mostly conservative masses secures his position Upper Volta's presidency. Now saying that his political program will be as he promised, of course, just to know that politics aren't only based on social issues. A graduate in medicine just to know the needs of the population economically in the phrase speak out for the well-being. Then we got the liberal and the conservative. And oh, I think that's the revisionist socialists, libertarian Marxists. I can't remember. And Blase Blesselif, the youngest politician in Upper Volta, is unsurprisingly one with the biggest dreams. Paid the minimum age to win the office, which is already the lowest of any country in Africa, Blase has made extensive efforts in solidifying his legitimacy as a real politician in the democracy of Upper Volta. Campaign around the local unions, boatmen, factory workers, miners, and more. It gathering them in a single united front, the CGT remnants of Ouagadougou. Blase had decided that the best way to solidify his position as the reinforcer of Upper Volta politics was to create a political party as a front towards unionist activities. The Parti du Regroupement Africain. Despite his gentle demeanor, Blase is an ardent speaker with a major advocate for toiling masses of Upper Volta. Sorry, I was telling, my bad. most of whom can't even read. Considering all that, the fact that he has won the first election in upper Volta in history might not be surprising, but sometimes dreams really do come true, even for our whole country. And lastly, we have Swingwheel Limousina. Abu Dakar Sangwilu Lamazana's background is a mystery. Born in a smaller rural village in Upper Volta, he began military studies after he reached the age of 18. Becoming a private within Upper Volta's colonial armies, Sanguila, hearing of the news that the French were barely holding on to his homeland, quickly got to work talking to Nazi Bonnie, Isidore, and other local politicians. His military expertise to completely drive out the French and subsequently becoming the unsung hero of Upper Volta, hidden from the spotlight by Nazi Bonnie. As a secondary leader of the Independence War, Swingale began to notice his potential power diminishing further and further. Knowing some political strategies, he started to talk with the local conservatives and Liverpool, seeing who would be the most helpful in his plans. Becoming increasingly influential as the only major general of Upper Volta, he realized that part of his political program would have to include conservatism and appeal to local Muslim populations, as only practicing self-declared Muslim in the Upper Volta and upper political echelons. Swingale, knowing that his ally Uzalin would try to wrangle his influence away, organized an incident in the capital, charging the Quizzenites with treason. With this, the political climate of Upper Volta has gotten more authoritarian than anyone could have expected. With this, Swingale politics are merely practical, cold, calculating moves that seek to give him the most power without destroying Nazi Bonnie's legacy. So yeah, military coup. Drink water. It looks like a military coup could happen. Probably if you let him get too much power. Is my best guess. Anyways, it leads to two events that could pop up. The Art of the Kitchen. The morning sun casts light upon the city of Ouagadougou, bustling with its customers of morning markets that fill the streets every day. Such life, yet only miles from this, is that quiet and seemingly largely empty colonial manor house. The light casts itself at an odd angle onto a long table, nearly 10 meters long as a matter of fact, within a large dining hall. All seemed surprisingly quiet, and that was just how Melon liked it. No one to criticize her every moment, no one to tell her where and how to step. It's just her and her work, no one to complain anything but the results. Marie made her way around the table, adjusting the decorative drapes for perfect symmetry, all while humming catchy local tunes she heard as she walked towards just before the sun rose. The notes cascaded lightly off the road as she continued her task. Dusting down tables, bookshelves, decorative wall pieces, along with sweeping up the floor. It was a calming monotony that she had felt for nearly 2 years. Yet even in this inner calm, something external and unseen disturbed that equilibrium. The sun had risen enough so that the light did not blind Miriam at her attempts to look outside the window. It's nice to have a piece of gossip to go back to with friends, right? And so as she looked outside, giving the usual 5-second panic stare, the gates on the manor abruptly opened. You can wait for multiple presidential vehicles to pull into the roundabout entranceway. Some of the faces she saw on them made her eyes widen. Were they hosting the entire political elite today? Rushing back to the dining hall in the dignified manner possible, she came across her supervisor, smirking at an off-Nazi, mildly disheveled manner. Gave him a most adult-like death stare. He raised an eyebrow and turned back around, saying one sentence to Miriam and with those few others employed now present in the room. Let's try to make this up. Yeah, so it's like a meeting. Look at that, the meeting of the Constitutionalists. After the dinner table had been prepared by beloved Miriam in the Palais de Ouagadougou. Definitely butchering that, I'm sorry. The most important and core individuals of the political spectrum of Upper Volta had arrived to discuss the future of the young republic. Being that they all sat down, Miriam gently placed some champagne for each of the politicians, cold and bubbling, taken directly from Britain after a long refrigerated journey to this colonial table. Nazi Bonham waited for Reen to leave as he raised his glass, smiling to speak softly as usual. To Upper Volta. All the guests smiled as well, respectfully nodding and gently hitting each other's glasses. A few drops of champagne dripping here and there, the atmosphere of the conversation got ever more calm and cheerful. Nazi raised his hand and began a speech. Whatever comes out of this discussion will be the future of Upper Volta's constitution and various social fabric. I will of course respect the views of all my benefactors and friends, but I hope you all understand that our healthy rivalries are needed. Disagreements are what put humanity forward. Some of the table nodded, others respectfully listened, and so like that, discussion began. Volta immediately got to work talking about the needs of defending the nation, while many agreeing, saying what I could take, saying that only through a mixed system of democracy and statocracy, Upper Volta can be properly defended. Of course, this meant shock and horror to most of the table, and like that, some even accused Volta of treason. Discord began to arise within the table, and all his comrades off. Now Subbonin looked to his comrades with disappointment. Do you have no shame? He loves democracy just as we all do. We just have different views. Let's all be civil. Most of the table settled down and the discussion continued. Nazi Bond began to speak again. So much to deal with. So yeah. Looks like Upper Volta is gonna be a pretty big part of this. Pretty sure the other nations will be too. So yeah, that's the teasers that I have now. Excited for to see how West Africa is gonna deal with. Feel like I don't know if Liberia is gonna get any changes as well, but I feel like it's gonna be pretty interesting to play around over here. We got democracies, theocracy, authoritarian regimes, colonies, and complete anarchy. Yeah, it seems like there's lots of potential to have some pretty cool shit go down. So yeah, that's all the African teasers as of now. If I find any others, I'll make a video. But until then, I'm the Mad Horse, and I'll see you guys later.